It's week 30 in the Premier League, midweek matches, 3 kind of derbies, and my most hated team against my beloved one. Welcome to my predictions. Afternoon everybody, hope you're doing well and welcome to the Footy Network. Coming up, we're going to go through all these midweek fixtures. There are some big games and there are games where teams cannot afford to lose, especially if they are in the race for Europe. So if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed on the Footy Network as well. And if you need to get yourself a VPN, we got a great deal for you guys with Surfshark, 85% off. Yes, 85% off. Plus on top of that, an extra 4 months completely for free. Use code FFTV, scan the QR code, or click on the link that's pinned in the comments. And let's jump into the first game. Molineux will host the first game of these midweek fixtures as Wolverhampton Wanderers will take on West Ham. This is 17th versus 16th in the table. You could actually argue that both these teams are probably already safe. Wolves may be the closest threat, but they're like 9 points clear with the goal difference, 10 points clear of the likes of Ipswich and Leicester. And then West Ham, are pretty much on the beach because they're a further 8 points clear of Wolves. Maybe Wolves are looking at this match like, can we get to 16th over 17th? Exciting. But with the main man Cunha still suspended, does that hamper their likelihood of getting points? West Ham, for me, are literally playing for nothing this season. They are officially, for me, the first team on the beach. They can't get into Europe. They probably can't get much higher in the table. I mean, the gap to them, they're in that little cluster gap of teams, aren't they? That are playing from like Man U downwards from 37 to 34 points. So yeah, they could probably reach 12, but would 12 be any difference really to them from 16th? But I think this Cunha thing is a factor. I'm going to go Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, West Ham 2. I just think without Cunha, Wolves will look a little blunt. And it's come out now saying that he wants to leave in the summer. And is that going to really derail the morale? What do you guys think? The Emirates will see the second game as Arsenal take on Fulham in this kind of London derby. I don't know, you're an Arsenal fan or a Fulham fan. Is there any beef between you? I've never heard of any. But anyway, geographically, this could be classed as a derby. And Arsenal are probably more focused on the Champions League match coming up shortly for them against Real Madrid. And within that focus, it comes down to one single player and all the talk is about Saka. Saka could be fit enough potentially for the squad. I don't think he'll be playing in this game. I don't think he'll be risked until maybe a game or so or 20 minutes or so in the build-up to the Real Madrid game. But is he going to be enough for them to overturn it? And are they going to be focused enough on the league? Because they can't really catch Liverpool. And finishing 2nd or 5th, any places in between them, it's an identical real prize. Minus, of course, or plus a few £1,000,000 for the position. In terms of Fulham, their one chance at a trophy this season has gone. They were dumped out of the FA Cup by Crystal Palace. And now they're really going to have to focus on league position to get themselves into Europe. They are currently sitting 8th in the league on 45 points. And they've gone win-loss, win-loss in their last few matches. But not really that far out of contention. Just looking at it now, they're on 45 points, 5th place 48. It's very, very tight there. So yes, they're battling for Europe, but can they make it to Champions League? I don't see them winning at the Emirates. I'm going to go Arsenal 2, Fulham 0. But I do think Fulham will get European football come the end of the season. But what competition will that be? Probably Europa for me. What do you guys think? The world famous City Ground will see Forest hosting Manchester United, and Forest are flying at the moment with a trip to Wembley against Manchester City and sitting 3rd in the league table with a little bit of a buffer to 4th. We got a 5-point buffer. So Forest have a little bit of elbow room. But off the back of that long FA Cup game against Brighton, where it went all the way to penalties, this is a quick turnaround of only a couple of days, but at least it's at home for them. In the other seat, Manchester United are apparently back on form. Undefeated, they keep telling me, in the last 4 games or so. And are they starting to find their groove against, with this Amorim ball, this 3-4-2-1 formation that he is so hell-bent on? Even Rasmus Højlund has scored a goal. Yes, it was against Leicester, but I guess they all count. I know we have to win this one. Sorry, I've got to be neutral on this channel. Forest need to win this one. If they can win this one, this will secure, or at least make it very likely that they end up with Champions League football come next season. And Manchester United aren't really playing for anything in the league. All their eggs are in that Europa basket. But I see a home win here. I'm going to go Forest 5, Manchester United 1. I'll be honest with you, that one is a token goal. Can I really see Rasmus or Bruno scoring against the likes of Milenkovic and Murillo? And if they get past him, got to get past Sells? No, but I'll give him a token one. Have I gone too high? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. St Mary's Stadium will see Southampton hosting Crystal Palace. And Southampton are still not past Derby's record. Guys, what are you doing to me? There's talks again that the likes of Dibbling will be leaving once Southampton get confirmed as relegated. And Southampton are putting a 100 million price tag on him. Is he actually worth that much? Or are they just trying to fend off any potential suitors? Crystal Palace, on the other hand, I think are starting to turn their season around and are looking very, very good, with a semi-final waiting for them at Wembley versus Aston Villa, and Eze scoring a fantastic goal for them as they comfortably, should we be honest, got past Fulham in my opinion. And Glasner is very underrated for me as a manager. They are of course sitting in their most comfortable position, which is 12th in the league, and their league form is triple W, 3 wins in a row. And let's be honest, it's a free win against Southampton. Or can Southampton produce a miracle? Not for me. I'm going to go Southampton 0, Crystal Palace 2. Saints, I tried to fight for you guys. I tried to give you hope that you'd stay up, but you're just not racking up these points. I think the championship is literally around the corner for you. The Vitality Stadium will see Bournemouth hosting Ipswich Town, and after everyone's been gaslighting up how good Bournemouth are, their form has gone to utter pot. They are now out of the FA Cup, done by Manchester City. They are now sitting 10th in the Premier League after everyone was saying maybe an outside bet for the Champions League. Their form has gone to pot as well. They've not won in their last 4 and lost 3 out of those last 4. Their season has derailed. I'm not smiling. And on the other hand, Ipswich, they're just treading water gently. Death by 1,000 cuts, whatever analogy you can come up with. They're heading back to the championship. 9 points behind Wolves, 10 points with the goal difference. This is done and dusted. Can they get the win? I would love them to. I really would. But I think Bournemouth being at home, crashing out the FA Cup, this is a semi-free win. It's not Leicester and Southampton levels. I'm going to go Bournemouth 3, Ipswich 1. I would love it though if Ipswich beat them and just Bournemouth don't end up with even European football. The American Express Credit Card Stadium will see the next match as Brighton will take on Aston Villa. And these two had really differing scenarios play out in the FA Cup. One of them's happy, one of them not so much. Aston Villa put 3 past Preston. There's the tongue twister for you. As Marcus Rashford was able to score a brace. Has he found his level? Is it against championship clubs? But Villa, I think, are having a really good season. They're holding strong in 3 competitions, doing extremely well in the Champions League, into the semi-finals of the FA Cup against Crystal Palace, and sitting 9th in the Premier League, but only a handful of points behind the Champions League places. Can Emery kind of master those 3 competitions? Can he make sure that resources are used well enough and that they're not overexerted? And could they end up with a trophy, or do they end up with nothing? On the other hand, Brighton had a tough time in the FA Cup, crashing out to the highest ranked team in there in terms of Nottingham Forest on a penalty shootout. And that was their first defeat since their last defeat against Forest of 7-0. They've been playing really well since then, picking up a lot of points. But this is a very balanced game for me. In fact, it's so balanced that I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go Brighton 2, Aston Villa 2. Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. What do you guys think? St James's Park will see the League Cup champions Newcastle taking on Brentford, and it's been party in the streets, party in the park all over the northeast there for Newcastle, as they've had their open bus tours, flashing their latest silverware, their first silverware in about 70 years. And they are still fighting for Champions League spots. They're currently sitting, where are they? 6th in the league on 47 points, literally out of it by a point. They really have to be able to flick that switch and get back into the mood. I think Newcastle will end up in the top 5. Now, in terms of Brentford, they might still consider themselves, maybe still within some form of European race, probably a Conference League spot. They're sitting 11th in the table on 41 points, and about 4 or 5 points out of being serious contenders for it. They're going to need to start picking up some wins. Well, they are picking up wins, but you get what I mean, because they went and beat Bournemouth last time out, coming from behind to beat them 2-1. Under normal circumstances, I see no other winner than Newcastle in this. But is there going to be a hangover from the celebrations? I hope not, but I'm going to try and go objective here, and I'm going to go Newcastle 1, Brentford 1. I hope I'm wrong, because I really want to see the Toon in the Champions League, but I think there will be a little bit of party hangover. The Etihad Stadium will see Manchester City taking on Leicester. And do we need to say much about this? This is a free win. I mean, not because Man City is so good, but because it is a Leicester. Ruud van Nistelrooy is still in a job. I thought if he was going to go, he'd go in that international window. But Leicester fans, I think, is stuck with him till the end. He's getting to the stage where he's making Steve Cooper's run at the start of the season look pretty good. Leicester still haven't scored a goal in a very long time. I think 8th of December they haven't scored at home. They haven't scored in 2025, something like that. The stats are getting embarrassing now. And I believe Leicester fans are just hoping and praying for a single goal. Even if they lose 6-7, 8-1, they would take that. Now, in terms of Man City, the only silverware they realistically can get is that FA Cup, and they had to come from behind to beat Bournemouth. In fact, they could have been ahead had Haaland put the ball in the back of the net, but he's left that match in a leg cast as well, so he could be out for a while. But up stepped Marmoush and he scored the goals, and he looked like he changed the game for them in that second half. Let's not waste any more time on this, guys. This is going to be Manchester City 4, Leicester 0. They ain't getting that golden goal that they so desperately want in that fan base at the Etihad. Are they? I don't think so. Anfield up in the northwest will see the Merseyside derby as Liverpool will take on next door neighbours Everton. And Liverpool have been the talk of the international break. because their local boy, one of their own, Trent, is leaving on a free to Real Madrid. Not even for monetary reasons, because apparently, if you believe the reports, he rejected a higher weekly wage from Liverpool because he wanted to find more success at a bigger club in Madrid. And speaking of their opposition, Everton are kind of safe, I guess, is what you would say. They're on 34 points, sitting 15th in the table, no real threat of relegation. So what are they playing for? Local pride, of course. Remember back to the one at Goodison where they scored that late injury time dramatic equaliser, and then the fights and everything that kicked off after that. I think Everton will be up for this one, and I can see them causing a bit of an upset. I'm going to go Liverpool 1, Everton 1. I just feel right now not everything is hunky-dory over at Anfield, and Everton will be more than happy to gatecrash it. What do you guys think? Stamford Bridge sees the final game of the midweek fixtures as Chelsea will take on Tottenham. And this is a definite local derby. And there's a rivalry here. I don't really get it too much because Chelsea win trophies occasionally and Spurs never do. And Spurs have historically been atrocious in this fixture. This is usually a slaughtering of Spurs when it comes to Stamford Bridge. They tend to never take anything away from it. Now, Chelsea need the points. They're sitting 4th in the table, 5 points behind Forest, but with the pack right on their heels, a point behind them and Man City. And Chelsea have an extremely tough fixture list in the run-in to the end of this season. So they will need to beat Spurs here. Spurs and Ange, on the other hand, are a bit like United. All the eggs are in that Europa League basket. They are sitting 14th in the league, racking up already 15 defeats this season. And Ange is hanging on by a thread, all on that Europa League success if he can bring it. But we do know that Spurs are allergic to trophies. So can they get that Europa League? Or will they try and push further up the league? I don't think they could make it into the top 10, even if they won every remaining game. I'm sticking with the form guide on this one. I'm going to go Chelsea 3, Spurs 1. But if Spurs could do Forest a favour, I wouldn't be against it. But historically, Chelsea always win this. And that, ladies and gents, are your fixtures for these midweek games. Some crucial games coming up. Get your predictions in the comments down below. And don't forget, if you do want to check out the sponsors of this video, Surfshark, where you can get 85% off and 4 extra months for free using code FFTV. Scan this QR code or click on the link that's pinned in the comments. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you are new. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the fixtures. We'll see you on the next video.